Welcome to the Bookworm Bindery with Cathy-Lynn. I am starting a new series this week. Today is Friday, and I am starting a series named Finish Up Friday. What you're looking at right now, and I'll pan a bit, is, oh, there's a finger, a mess. Pure and simple. It's a pure and simple mess. What has happened over the last 4 or 5 days is I have worked on multiple projects and I feel like I finished none of them. So what you're seeing here is a conglomeration of my projects. Now, just to be open here, I did just move 2 or 3 little things back onto this table that were not here. I have a card table set up behind me in my craft room, and as I have started something and then moved it aside to work on something else, I have filled the card table up probably halfway. And if you're new here, I have 2 Bengal cats. They are very energetic and curious and very inventive in activities to keep themselves occupied. And they like to play and share, and they like to do what I do, and they have been doing that on the card table. So I'm tired of picking things up off the floor. I'm tired of scooching them out from under paws and maybe even out of teeth. And I've said, no, you have to get this finished up today. I don't know that I'm going to get all of these projects done today, but I'm going to start, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So a quick look at what we've got. I have some journaling cards that I have started but not finished blinging out. So, for instance, this was actually a a paper pad of travel things, and I've started putting them together in this, and I'm going to get those finished up with the rest of the stuff that needs to be done to them. Whoa, sorry, didn't mean to hit that. Okay, hang on, let me put this away. Okay, so that's put away. And by put away, I mean I turned around and set it on the card table. But hopefully in a few minutes, once I've showed you all of this stuff, I'll be bringing it back over to work on. Okay, now, I have purchased on Amazon some mulberry paper flowers, and I opened it so that I could feel them and look at them and see the differences in shapes. And then I had to set it very carefully up because it didn't reclose. I could have closed it nicely with staples, tape, paper clip. No, I've let it sit there knowing that I have marauding cats. So I have a plastic container that I can store them in. I don't remember what came in there originally. I'm not sure they'll all fit, but they probably will. So we're just going to empty it and then mush them. Okay, this is actually in pretty good shape. I may just set this aside to use for windows in something that I don't have an envelope that came with windows, maybe something bigger or a different shape. And I have a container to put this in. It's a folder, so I'll put that away. Now, I think that it's not going to be a problem to just kind of get these all settled in. But I don't have to worry about it too much because I have this cute box that's the ones that look like books that has different kind of flowers in it. And a lot of these flowers I actually have stored elsewhere, but I have this box set up so that I can just reach in and grab flowers. So I'm just going to put a selection of the flowers in there, and that way when I'm going to look for flowers, I have choices and I don't have to pull out, I don't know, 5 different kinds of boxes. Okay, these go on the bookshelf behind me. I'm not taking you along. I'll let you just look and wonder at my mess as I move over here to put things away. and speak to you from afar, although to tell you the truth, it's not that big of a room, so it wasn't that far away. Okay, the next thing, we're just going to go here because they're kind of on top. So I had been making up book board, and I used recycled, non-corrugated cardboard. So it's like cardstock, but it's made, you know, things that you make, like that you cut up from cereal boxes, cracker boxes, cake mix, things like that. And I had some odd sized of the board left over after they were cut from my small, medium, and large sized blank page books and journals. And I had enough of them that I looked at that and thought, I'm going to glue these all up and make some odd sized books. So these are all 3-ply, let's get this picked up, 3-ply cereal box board weight. And so I actually have, they've been lying smushed, but you know, once they are open and filled. So that would be about the width. This is your spine. So these are done and waiting to be covered in fabric and then have the paper put in. This is not going to be a project for today, but I have a bunch more that is waiting. Let me bring them over here. That are waiting to be glued and taped. So each of these stacks will end up making one book, and these are their spines. So these are just going to be little pocket books, little books that are nice, maybe just for something to throw in your purse or throw in the console of your car or the glove box to take notes on. Maybe, I don't know, write your mileage if you're one that does that, down from your car when you get gas, or to make those notes really quick. You can pull out of your purse and you're like, it'll actually be faster than putting it into my phone. So some days we just have to go old school. So these need to be made into books or book forms like this, and then they'll need to be covered in fabric, and that's probably a finish up Friday for next week, and that would be the only thing I will get done because this will take a little while. So now I'm setting these aside. I'm actually going to leave them on the same desk. It's a table. It's a nice big dining room table that I've moved into my craft room, and I'm just going to set them over here so that they are contained. Okay, great. So there's that. Hello. Let's move you guys over with them. Okay. Next isn't really a project, but I just thought I'd point this out. Yes, it is a small size paper plate. When I'm cutting out and doing fussy cuts, those little teeny tiny pieces of paper as you go around drop down. I tend not to do something like this in one long strip. Sometimes it can be a game that you play, like, you know, peeling an apple or peeling an orange. Can you keep all of the peel together in one piece before you're done? But I am an impatient fussy cutter, so it is not unusual for me to move around, and I'm coming up to a perfect place for this, where I move this off and I snip. And then, because this is kind of a deep cut, I'll cut along here, and then I'll bring it up here and cut it off. And all of those little pieces that fall on the table fall in your lap. And if you are a messy crafter, will fall on top of all of the other things that you're not getting done right now, or you're working on doing, and this is the part that has to be done next. Then you have to pick up all of those silly little tiny pieces of paper. This works incredibly well to contain them. And while this was white, and I suspect it's hard to see these little pieces of paper, I can now pick this up and dump it into the trash beside me. So, having said that, this is another project. I'm working on a Christmas journal for craft shows coming up, and I am fussy cutting, and sometimes I am, so here's one that's finished, I am just kiss cutting. But I've got all these little bits of paper, and having them drop onto the paper plate versus whatever surface is beneath me, it just helps me pick up quicker, clean up easier. So I'm going to move the plate away because I usually just keep it in a little, I don't know, it's like a little rack, little dowel rack that you can keep things in. So this is one combination that's going to go on a belly band. And this one's ready to be glued, so I can get that done. That'll be nice. Kind of this sort of a thing. This was Christmas tissue from probably last year Christmas time. Came probably in a gift bag. It's a great material to use to give you interesting backgrounds. So this one was just a plain, I don't know, grass green. And so I used it for this band. I'm making a couple of belly bands to go in my Christmas book. So I just crumpled up the tissue, glued it on, inked it, and put these guys on. And now it'll get glued in along the top and the bottom. And it's just been put on a layer of that craft board to make it stiff. I personally prefer belly bands that are stiff. I think that they hold what you put in better. So it's just a personal preference. Sometimes I use lace, which is the absolute opposite of that. So this is a project that needs to be done. And it's a particularly messy one because I have tissue. This is a sad state of affair on this tissue. And then my little glue cloth. My other one is probably just over here, just out of, or to the edge of the periphery. This is that red that I just showed you. So as soon as I can get the several things that I'm doing done, then I can get these put away. I know this may drive a lot of people crazy. I don't smooth out tissue paper when I pull it out of a gift bag, for instance, because so often I then would just have to go back and crumple it up. And I have a hanging shoe rack, I believe is what it's intended for. So it's big enough to put boots or, like work boots or hiking boots in, or shoes. And, it's supposed to hang like in a closet, maybe in your mudroom or something, or in your closet to organize your shoes in your bedroom. And I had been using it in the small closet in our motorhome. And all of a sudden I needed a place that I could put paper that I could differentiate. So music sheets or lined paper, art paper, graph paper. And so what I did was I went and pulled that out of the motorhome because I wasn't really using it. And I hung it up. And now I have stuff in. Well, the very, very top and the top bin and on the very top of it where it's hanging, I just have these wads of, not tightly wadded, but gently wadded tissue paper. So it looks a bit messy, but it's high enough up that the cat can't get it. And that's important because one of the boys, Hayden, loves tissue paper. So this tissue paper, which looks like really it just should go into the trash, was found in the middle of the hallway at 3 a.m. one night when I was woken up to funny sounds. And it has tooth marks. It's been jagged. If this was a steak, it would look like a lion came in and just ripped it to shreds. But I kept it because there are pieces long enough to cover a board. And this does have some holes in it. But remember, I'm putting something on top of it. So I would just have to place this so that whatever I had came over these holes. But it's not fabric, this paper is cool because it has these tiny little glimmery dots. I think maybe you can see them. Yeah. See that? So that would be just a really cool effect at the, on the back of something that's like Christmas or snowfall or something. Fairies, I don't know. So I know this is ridiculous, and probably this one could be thrown away, but I could also crunch it and put it on the side of something. Although there is a limit, really, to how much you can use that sort of thing. So I have that to do, and I'm getting ready to do a demo on this process, like probably next. So I'm going to just set these truly right beside where I'm working. So it's at least being piled up and made neat. Underneath this tissue is more of boards for that. Okay, there's that. So that's what I'm going to work on in a minute. And I'm going to move these back, and that is going to show us my Christmas stamps. And I'm going to be working on a, okay, what is it called? A page edge that actually will be a slip pocket, and I'm going to cover it with stamps. This is an idea that I don't remember where I got it from, but I will look it up and let you know when I'm actually doing that demo video. So that's going to come up in the next day or two. So I've got that. And then an exciting thing is I was at Michael's, and they had their fall items. So this is towards the end of September, and they had their fall items on a good sale at 60% off, I think. And I thought that this box that looks like a book was really cool, except I despise plaid, which is something I actually have to admit out loud. When you're Welsh and Scottish, you're supposed to like plaid if you're Scottish, but I don't. And so I'm going to cover it. And so I pulled out two things to do that, and this is what I'm going to kind of start playing with here, is I pulled out a piece of the craft board, and I pulled out a piece of velvet, which corresponds with this beautifully. It's like it's the right color as this mushroom here, some of the color in this chrysanthemum. And I'm going to cover this so that once it's standing up, it's going to just look like a book. Hello, Hayden. Do not look at my tissue paper. So what I'm going to do with this, when I opened this up, you could see some cord in there. I'm going to start with taking this board, and I'm going to score it with this paper score so that it will curve over this curve nicely. And then I am going to take some cording, and I couldn't find anything that I liked. So at first I thought, well, this is too big, this nylon stuff, but it mushes down, it compresses. So I'm going to cut off this burned end because I don't want that funky bulk. As I take this across, I'm going to let it stick off just about maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch on each side. And I'm going to do this once I've glued this onto here so that I can glue it across onto the spine, across this paper and onto the spine. And I'm going to put several of them up as we go up so that it looks like the reinforced binding of old books. You don't see this happen much anymore, but this was meant to, and it would have been used with twine or leather strips or what have you. It would have been used to reinforce the spine. So this is just going to be for visual appeal. And then once that's done, this piece of fabric will lay inside the front cover, but so that it we'll cover this and the ends of the cording, and then I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So this is what we're doing next. A tag. So I bought this fabric at a yard sale, probably within the last year, so sometime maybe in 2023. And this is a tag from Hancock Fabric. So somebody purchased this in June. Well, I don't know. This would have been tagged for sale in June of 2001, and it was $9.99 a yard. This piece of velvet probably was a $18 to $20 a yard fabric, and this would have been put on clearance aisle. And somebody bought it and didn't use it, and now I'm going to. I think it's stunning. So, okay, now I'm going to put you on hold again. Let me straighten up. Okay, now that's been straightened up, and actually I've kind of gotten the materials I need to cover the spine of that book. Fake box. Fake. It's a real box. It's a fake book. In the background, right over in here, I had these little pieces of paper that were used to decorate tags. This was my leftovers from those. And so I thought, ooh, I could do a cool collage. I'm not going to do that this minute, but I thought, I think I'm going to look at trying to do a herringbone pattern with them. Obviously, it's easier on a flat surface. And do this on a master board, at least for part of a master board. And so, because I have, you know, a nice amount of them, I can certainly even cut them in half and just make, you know, kind of a nice size. But I'm not doing that right now. So I have a box over here that's listed or labeled as small bits. And I leave that little sliding lid open so that I can just drop things in. And every once in a while, I open it up and I go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Or, oh my gosh, look at all the stuff I have to make. Anyway, so here we are. Now, let's put this glue mat underneath the cutting mat. It's where it lives sometimes. Okay, actually, it's under there often even when I should be using it. But all right, so let's take this piece of craft card stock, and I am going to come in 1/4 of an inch and score this on both sides. So one of these sides is going to move, is going to be towards the front of the box, and the other will be towards the back. And then from there, I'm going to score this. If I didn't, okay, there we go. I'm going to score these every 1/8. This is going to allow that to move, you know, to be able to bend. Whoops, try to stay in the groove, Kathy. Okay. And the trick to that is actually make sure you've got some pressure on your scoring tool. If you don't have enough pressure, it lets the tools kind of skate over the paper. Some papers are delicate enough that you're like, ooh, I don't want to press too hard or I'll actually just cut through. Okay, I have to turn it over because I'm getting into the part where I can't touch. And then I just need to line it up. So this one, I'm lining it up on the 1 inch. And I need to remember to stop. Nope, just keep going right up to the next line, which is right there. Okay, so when you look at that now, if I bring this up close, I think you can see all these scores. So my understanding of the way that this works is if you score this side, it's this side that gets the bend. And what I'm going to do is move the scoreboard because I don't need that. And I'm actually going to take the box and I'm going to lay this, and I'm just going to kind of curve this. This will give the paper the idea of what I'm going to expect it to do. because I don't need any of these actually folded super hard, like creased, but now it has that feel, and it'll be easy enough to put on. Okay, set this aside. I think I'm going to put some kind of an interesting thing over here. I feel like this is printed. This is the sticker. But if I peel it off, it's just going to leave a mess. So I'll put something here. I don't know what. I've got a lot of botanical, or maybe something butterfly-y. It's got moths on it. So something botanically can go there. Not a technical term. All right. So now I want to glue this. And I do indeed have a bit of a fear of this just unraveling the minute I cut the cord. So I'm going to do, I think I have a solution where I'm going to leave little loops out here. So I'm not going to cut it right off the bat. And I do want to make sure that I move this over far enough that the burnt end, I have enough space over here to glue onto the book once I cut off the glued end. Now, of course, this is something that if you were actually making a book, oh no, don't cut it, Kathy, don't cut it, that the spine would be on the book. I'm actually making a faux spine to go on a faux book so that it looks more like a real book. Yeah. Because, yeah, I could be making books and to sell, and I could be making up ephemera to go into those said books. I don't want to waste a lot of this, but I think it would waste anyway. So I was thinking maybe every 2 inches isn't going to be complete because this isn't an exact inch amount. No, that didn't work. Hang on just a second. I'm going to bring it down. You won't be able to see my measures because I'm not moving the camera. But this is 8. Let's see. This is 8 5/8. So I'm going to eyeball it. Maybe I'll make these two an inch apart. And then maybe I can do the same thing on the bottom and then put 2 in the middle that are even. Which means I'm going to have to cut this or just use another end. There are multiple ends in this. I don't know why, but there are. So yeah, let's do this. Okay. So this is on this inch. So I'm using Fix that's been put into a piping bottle. This was an idea that I got from Pam at the Paper Outpost. The very first, she was the very first bookmaker junk journaler video I ever watched. It came up on my feed, as things so often do, for some bizarre reason that only the YouTube analytics knows. I think even the people who write the program don't know. Okay. And I was like, what? And that was that. It's been a little over a year. Not a year ago. A little over 2 years ago. And I started collecting and buying, and I have not looked back. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to take another end, which may or may not be connected to that end. There's several pieces here. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. So again, we have that end that's been heat sealed commercially, I suspect, because when you do this with a match or a lighter, it's always a bit black from the soot. So I probably use something like a heat gun or hot plate. Okay, let it stick off the end. Put this on an inch mark. So wrapping it around, I want to make sure that I leave enough of a loop that I can cut, but I don't want to waste too much cord. So enough to cut, and I'll only waste a little bit of cord. I actually found when I was putting things away while you were on a break a minute ago, or 5 minutes ago, I actually found another piece of nylon cord like this. It was a little smaller, and with this velvet, I kind of felt like it might get lost. Oh, I'm putting this the wrong way. But yeah, you're going to be able to see these very nicely. I did go ahead and cut this down before I came back, and I trimmed this down so I don't have to keep you here forever. Okay, here goes. Okay. I'm not going to breathe so that no air movement causes a problem. All right, so between this one and this one, I'm going to center them. Oops, sorry, just touched the frame. Okay, that's sort of centered. And it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. So I need to do this around this line. Let me grab a pencil. So this is the center between these two pieces. And I don't want to put the cord here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little mark, which I'm not sure you can see, and I'm going to center it approximately in the middle of this 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to find maybe the end I just cut off or not. Yeah, it is, because it hasn't been unraveled. Raveled. Yeah. That's a fascinating word. They both mean the same thing, to ravel something or to unravel it. Here we go. I believe, without actually going and looking it up at this time, but I've looked it up in the past. If I remember right, ravel is the original word to mean something coming apart, usually referring to fabrics. But it could be anything that you've woven up. Oh, I almost put that flush. So I'm going to put this off to the side so I have overlap for the book itself. So I'm not sure where or why the usage of unravel came to be. If raveling meant to have something come apart. You know, we talk about, oh, the cuff of the sweater is raveling. So then sometimes we're like, if you guys don't get your room picked up pretty soon, I'm just going to unravel and you're going to have to deal with the consequences. I don't know if anybody ever said that. Pretty sure that's not what my mom or dad ever said. But it's what came to mind. Okay, so there's that. So the nice thing about Fabrifix over Fabri-Tac or other silicone glues is it tacks faster. So Fabrifix tacks faster than Fabri-Tac. It's a little more expensive, not much. But if you're buying them in cases of 12, yeah, all of a sudden it's $15, $18 more. But I like the product better. If you're looking for something that, maybe this is not even, look at this. This is 2 inches, but this is 3. And I'm going to fix that by putting one more here. Yeah, flexible and innovative. That's what we need to be. This wasn't a mistake. I'm sure I'm sure I measured it to do this for pure artistic reasons. No, but it will look